Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lingua Luminar. In this episode, we are going to discuss Cambridge IGCSE English as a Second Language 0510. In this session, we are going to explore what is Cambridge IGCSE and specifically English as a Second Language 0510. We would be discussing an overall overview of the syllabus. So before beginning, let me give you an overview about the things that you are going to understand from this session. First and the foremost, that why to choose this particular sort of syllabus, like what are the particular needs, what are the appealing features, or the key benefits that you are going to receive if in case you have opted for IGCSE qualifications. Secondly, with reference to our 0510, which is English as a second language, I will be giving you an overall overview of the syllabus. Then we will discuss the subject content. We will also discuss the details of the assessment, and at the end, I am going to cater your queries. So let's begin. First and the foremost, why to choose this syllabus? If we generally talk about Cambridge IGCSE, so IGCSE is basically another examination board which works under the umbrella of Cambridge. If we talk about the key benefits, like what are the things, what are the benefits that you are going to receive if in case you have opted for IGCSE. So first and the foremost, IGCSE is the most popular international qualification which is specifically designed for the needs of the students belonging to the age group of 14 to 16 years. In IGCSE, you have a variety of the subjects to pick. You can pick among 70 subjects with any particular sort of combination. If you want to go with the sciences, so you can opt with the sciences subjects. If you want to go with the business or the commerce line, so you can go and opt with the commerce subjects. It is an international recognition and it is taught over 4,500 schools in almost 140 countries. This tells us that how reliable, diverse, and globally accepted this qualification is. It helps you to develop the skills for the understanding and communicating in the range of the situations of English language. As far as the international recognitions are concerned, so the Cambridge IGCSE is recognized by the leading universities and the employers around the world. A strong grade starting from the range of A star till C, D means that you are well prepared for the further studies, whether that's A levels, IB, or pre-university or foundation programs. It is comparable to the standards of the reformed of GCE in the UK, like the basic skills that the Cambridge want you to enable are here as well. As far as the support from the teachers are concerned, so as a teacher, we are going to provide you the wide range of the resources, detailed guidance, and innovative trainings. A school support hub for the resources, online forums, and updates has been designed for the teachers to get a first-hand knowledge about the resources. Moving further with the second part of our today's session, which is the overall syllabus overview. If we talk about 0510, which is English as a second language, so it has two basic aims. First and the foremost, that it helps to develop learners' ability to use English effectively for the practical communication. It goes beyond the language mechanics, basically. Students learn how to comprehend ideas, how to express opinions, how to summarize the content, and interact effectively. So in this way, Cambridge give you a real advantage in the global setting. Second basic aim of this particular syllabus is that it promotes learners' personal development and enjoyment. Through peer work, speaking assessment, and the practical task, students build fluency and develop the confidence to participate actively in the conversations and discussions. The Cambridge IGCSE English language syllabus aims to do more than teach English. It aims to transform learners into the thoughtful and the articulate global citizens. Students can learn how to understand and produce English that is clear, appropriate, and effective in both written and spoken forms. Students become excited because the learning becomes an enjoyable journey. This syllabus promotes personal development, creativity, and the critical thinking, all essential for the lifelong learning. Next, we are going to talk about the content overview, like what this particular syllabus is. So it helps you to develop some sort of practical communication skills, which are going to provide a great deal of aid in your practical lives, as this particular syllabus is going to assess all of your four areas of language, which are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So this means that it is going to improve your creativity and the critical thinking. As far as the assessment is concerned, so this is an overview of an assessment. In Cambridge English as a second language 0510, you are going to appear in three papers. Paper number 1 will be of 2 hours and of 60 mark, which is going to be the reading and the writing paper. Paper number 2 would be the listening paper, and you will be allocated with good 50 minutes to attempt the listening task. The marks allocation for this paper is 40. Paper 3 is basically the speaking endorsement. And here the duration that you are going to receive is maximum 10 to 15 minutes. It is going to be assessed internally or externally. When we say internally assessed, so that means that there would be some sort of examiners that are going to be nominated from your center, and they would be sitting in your center, and they would be conducting your speaking endorsement. And when we say the external assessment, so that means that if in case the suitable conditions are not available at your center, so you will be designated with an other location, and over there the Cambridge representative are going to conduct your assessment. Now, let's talk about the assessment objective. Like, what are the basic assessment objective? So as I have mentioned earlier, that this syllabus is going to cover all the four basic areas of your English language, which are reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So this assessment come with four major assessment objective. First and the foremost is the assessment objective for reading. This syllabus is being designed for you to understand the factual information, connection, and the implied meaning. That means that once you are reading the text, so you can easily predict that where the author has provided the factual detail, what is a difference between a fact and an idea and an opinion, how the author has presented a connection in the text, and if in case any particular clue has been provided for your understanding, so how you are going to make a proper conclusion based on that clue. Second major assessment objective is for writing, and here the examiner wants you to enable to communicate effectively by organizing your ideas and using your language appropriately. So this technically means that once you have finished your studying 0510, so by the end of this assessment, you would be able to know that what particular genre you are going to compose, what are the particular pros and cons of that genres, what are the do's and don'ts that you need to keep in focus. Assessment objective number 3 is basically based on listening. So here examiner is going to enable you to understand the specific information and the implied meanings through listening transcripts. And assessment objective number 4 is based on speaking, which is going to enable you to communicate your ideas, to control your vocabulary, to tailor your language, and to maintain a smooth flow of conversation. Each and every of these assessment objectives contain few headlines, like a few further description of it that we would be discussing later in our sessions. So these four are the major assessment objectives which are based on each and every area of your language: reading, writing, listening, and speaking separately. Now let's talk about the subject content. As far as the structure of the paper is concerned, so paper number 1 is going to be the reading and the writing paper, where you are supposed to identify and understand the factual information. You are going to understand the differentiation between the ideas, opinions, and the attitudes which are presented in the text, and you are going to compose an effective piece of response in the form of your composition. Let's talk about the structure of paper number 1. In paper number 1, you are going to receive 5 exercises. Exercise number 1 is of 8 marks, and here the candidates are going to read the text and answer a series of the question. The text which would be given to you would be 400 to 450 in word limits, and is likely to include facts, opinion, ideas, and attitude. The first 5 questions for this exercise require one answer. It can be a short phrase, it can be a one word answer, or it can be a one sentence based answer. And the final and the last question require 3 answers. That means that you are going to work with some sort of textual evidence thing. Candidates are going to compose short single word phrases in the form of their answers. So the text may be taken from, for example, an article, blog, or the website. And the marks that are going to be allocated for this exercise are 8. Then you will have exercise number 2, where you are supposed to read one continuous text which would be divided into up to 5 sections. You are supposed to read the text. It can be 5 shorter related texts, or it can be a one continuous text. Each overall, the word limit for the text is going to be 600 to 650 in length. This is basically a sort of multiple task matching question. Candidates are going to read the 9 questions and select the text which contain the relevant information or the idea to answer each and every question. Each question is worth 1 mark, and overall you will receive 9 questions. So this exercise will be of 9 marks. Then we will have exercise number 3, where you are supposed to read a text and complete a set of brief notes. In simple words, you can say that it's a note making exercise. And the text which will be provided to you for this exercise might be 400 to 500 in word limit. There would be some certain criteria for making the notes, like 2 or 3 categories. So each category is worth 1 mark, right? So in this way, the total mark for your exercise number 3 are going to be 7. Then you will have exercise number 4, where you will again read a text which will be approximately 550 to 600 word long, and you will be answering 6 multiple choice questions. Each question may focus on the main idea or a detail which has been provided in the text, or the attitude or the opinion which has been expressed by the author in the text. There would be 3 particular options given to you, and you are supposed to choose between those options. And candidates are going to write appropriate letters A, B, or C for each and every answer. Each question is going to be worth for 1 mark, and the total mark allocation for this exercise number 4 will be 6. So these 4 were basically the reading exercise. As the paper is for both reading and writing, so you will receive 4 reading exercise and 2 writing exercise. First exercise for writing will be your exercise number 5, where you will be asked to write between 120 to 160 words of continuous prose in response to the rubrics. The rubrics basically include the informations on the response and the audience. It is somehow IELTS based question, where you must address the prompt provided in the text, and you're going to be awarded up to 6 marks for the content, which is going to include the task fulfillment and the development of the ideas, and up to 9 marks for the language, which will include range, accuracy, and organization. In simple words, you will receive a question which will contain few bullet points, 2, 3, or maybe more than that. So what you just simply have to do, that you have to read the question thoroughly, and in your response, the ideas which has been given in the form of the bullet point, you are supposed to develop by you adding your own opinion. When we say task fulfillment, so that means that candidate has effectively understood the question and followed each and every instruction which has been provided in the question. Development of the ideas means that you have taken out the idea which has been given in the question, then you have added your opinion and you have developed it further. So overall marks allocation for this exercise are 15, which is divided into uh, 9 marks for the language and 6 marks for the content. Last exercise of your paper number 1 would be exercise number 6, where you are supposed to again compose a written response between the word limits of 120 to 160. Again, there would be the separate rubrics for this particular questions. So the rubrics will include information on the format of each response, which will include the purpose and the audience. This exercise is more like a formal response, whereas exercise number 5 that I have just talked about is an informal piece of response. And usually with the recent update of this syllabus, examiner has mentioned that the candidates would be asked to write an informal email. But so far in the syllabus, examiners has still mentioned that informal letter is there. So that means you are either going to receive informal letter or an informal email. So as we were talking about exercise number 6, and I mentioned that this is a formal piece of response. So for this particular sort of question, you will be given with few particular ideas, maybe 2, maybe 4. If there are 2 ideas, so one idea would be in favor of one particular thing, or the other idea would be in against of it. So you are either going to compose an argumentative, discursive, or a persuasive piece of response by keeping a formal tone. The marks allocation for this exercise are 15, which are divided into 2 categories, same as exercise number 5. 6 marks for your content, where the examiner is going to assess that how successfully you have fulfilled the task and developed the ideas, and 9 marks for the language, where the examiner is going to assess your range, accuracy, and the organization. So this is what the particular structure of your paper number 1 will be. Now, let's talk about the next paper, which is paper number 2. Paper number 2 is basically the listening paper, and this paper aimed to identify the factual details and understand the speaker's opinion. Now, let's discuss what is going to be the particular structure for the listening paper. For listening paper, you will receive 5 exercises. In exercise number 1, you will receive 8 short transcription on familiar and accessible topics. For each and every transcription, there will be one multiple choice question with 4 visual options, and the candidates are going to select the correct option from the provided option. This question is basically set to test the understanding of the informations or the ideas expressed by the expressed by the speaker, and each question is worth of 1 mark. So in total there would be 8 questions, so the marks for this exercise will be 8. Then you will have exercise number 2, where you will hear 5 short extracts. You are supposed to answer 2 multiple choice questions per text. Each question has 3 written options, which may be the words or the short phrases, and you are going to select the correct option from the provided options. This question is being designed to test your understanding of extracting detail, opinions, ideas, and the implied informations expressed by the speaker. Each question is worth of 1 marks. You will receive 10 questions for this exercise, and overall marking for exercise number 2 will be 10. Then you will have exercise number 3, where you will be allowed and exposed to hear a monologue. You are going to complete 8 sentences by selecting the correct information from the written options. Each option can either be a word or a shorter phrase. The sentence are going to test your understanding for the information and the main ideas expressed by the speaker. Each question is of worth mark, and you will receive 8 questions for this exercise as well. Then you are going to have exercise number 4, where you will again being exposed to hear 6 short monologues. This is going to be a multiple matching task, similar to your exercise number 3 of paper number 1. For each and every transcription, you are going to select from the choice of the 8 statements. The statements are going to test the details, opinion, and the ideas and the implied informations expressed by the speaker. Each question is going to be worth 1 mark, and you will be given with 6 particular sort of question. In this way, this exercise will be of 6 marks in total. In simple word, you will be asked to hear a monologue, and there would be 6 to 8 statements written on your exam paper. What you just simply have to do, that you have to point out that which speaker has said about what. The last exercise of your listening paper is basically the exercise number 5, where you are going to hear an interview between two speakers. You are going to answer 8 multiple choice questions. Each question is going to have 3 particular options, A, B, or C. The options can be a proper sentence structure, can be a word, can be a phrase, or even a longer or a shorter sentence. These questions are also going to test your understanding of extracting out details, opinion, ideas, and the implied information as expressed by the speaker. Each question is going to be worth for 1 mark, and you will be given with 8 particular sort of questions. So that means the total marks for exercise number 5 are going to be 8. Next, paper number 3, which is going to be speaking paper, or the speaking endorsement, or the speaking component. Okay, so we have 2 particular sort of syllabus, 0510 and 0511. Both of the syllabuses have the same specific content. The only thing which differentiate both of them, that if you are opting for 0510, so the grade that you are going to receive in your speaking component is not going to affect your overall grade of listening and reading and writing paper. And if you're opting for 511, so your overall grade is going to be added with the marks that you are going to receive in the speaking paper. So let's discuss the particular structure of the speaking paper. This paper is divided into 3 main parts. 3 main parts which are going to be assessed, and 2 parts which are basically not going to be assessed. And technically, the time which is going to be allocated to you is between 10 to 15 minutes, right? The first part of your speaking assessment is the introduction. Here, you will be sitting in front of the examiner. Examiner is going to introduce yourself. Examiner will call your candidate number, candidate name, and the date and the time when the whole entire test is going to take place. Examiner is going to give you a welcome note and going to read out the examiner script for you. It will hardly take 1 particular minute, and this part of the assessment is not assessed. Like, you will not be marked on at this part of the assessment. In this in the introductory part, examiner is also going to set up the recording, right? The whole entire speaking test is going to be recorded by the examiner, right? And the recording is going to start right from the time the examiner going to start to speak. Then it comes with the second part of your speaking assessment, which is basically the warm up. Here, the examiner is going to use some sort of warm up to put the candidates at ease by conducting a short conversation using the questions which has been usually provided to the examiner. The questions might be based on your real life scenarios. The examiner can ask about your well-being. The examiner can convey the greetings to you, or examiner may ask you about that if you have been stressed about the paper or not. And if you say that yes, you are stressed about the paper, so examiner is going to encourage you by a few particular words by its side. Again, this part is not going to be assessed, and the time which is going to be taken for this warm-up activity would be between 1 to 2 minutes. So these are the 2 parts which are not going to be assessed. Now, the 3 major parts which are going to be assessed are as follow. In the first part, you will be interviewed. In the second part, you will be provided particular time to present a short talk. And in the third part, you're going to have a discussion with the examiner based on what you have said. So let's discuss them one by one. Part number 1, which is basically an interview sort of thing. So here, the examiner is going to expose the topic for this part by reading out the examiner script. The examiner is going to conduct a short interview with the candidate by asking questions which are provided on this topic. this part is going to be assessed. Like, examiner is going to have multiple cards, as the speaking endorsement is going to be assessed separately for each and every candidate. So there would be so many cards. When as soon as you're going to enter in the examination hall, examination room, you are going to be greeted by the examiner. You are going to go through with the warm up activity. Then examiner is going to give you one particular sort of card which will have your particular topic. And in order to introduce that particular topic, the examiner is going to ask you questions, and you are supposed to respond to the questions. The second part of your speaking assessment, which is going to be assessed, is basically the preparation period for the short talk. The examiner is going to read out the examiner script and give the speaking assessment card to the candidate. The candidate is going to have 1 minute to read the card and prepare for the talk. Here, you will not be allowed to make any sort of notes physically. Like, if you are going to ask for the examiner to provide a piece of paper and the pen to note down your notes. So this thing is not allowed at all. What you can just simply do, that whatever the ideas you are going to present in your speaking, you can just make up the notes in your mind. Then a short talk session is going to begin. The candidate is going to present the talk on the particular topic that is being mentioned in the card. The candidate can keep the card until the end of the talk. This part is assessed, and you will be having 3 to 4 minutes to present your particular sort of talk. Now, as far as the time limit is concerned, for example, the maximum time allocation for this particular part is 4 minutes, and you have taken it longer. So before the end of the 4 minute, like at around 3 minutes and 50 seconds or 3 minutes and 40 seconds, the examiner is going to ring a bell, which is basically going to be an alarm that you are running out of the time. And as soon as the 4 minutes are going to be done, so again the examiner is going to ring the bell, which would be louder comparatively to the first bell that was rung by the examiner. So this would be a final signal for you that your time limit is over. Now, you are not allowed to add anything in your short talk as soon as the final bell is being rung. The last part of your speaking assessment is the part 3, where you're going to have a discussion. Examiner is going to read out the examiner script and going to conduct a discussion using the question related to the topic in part number 2. This part is going to be assessed, and you will be having 3 to 4 minutes for this particular sort of discussion. Okay, as this is the speaking component, and all of your speaking skills are going to be assessed. So what are the key areas which are going to be assessed? First and the foremost, the flow. Second thing, the structure. The third thing, your confidence. And the fourth thing, your accuracy. Like, for example, that if you are sitting in a speaking endorsement and you are somehow giving very short responses, so it is not appreciated, it is not recommended at all, it is not going to be accepted at all. It may end up in having some sort of negative marking. So it is recommended that like when you are sitting for the speaking endorsement or the speaking test, you should have a confidence to speak, and you should be speaking in a flow, and you need to make sure that whatever the sentences that you're going to speak are in a proper structure and free of error. So this is what our examination pattern of English as a second language 0510 or 0511 is. Now, if in case you have any sort of queries, so you can drop it down in the chat box, and I will try my level best to reach back each and every comment that I am going to receive. Lastly, if we talk about the particular text types which are going to be given to you in the paper, so it can be an article, it can be a blog post, it can be a conversation, it can be any sort of research thing. So usually the text which has been given to you here are quite very general, like they are based on very familiar topic which are present in your everyday life, right? So I would like to end the session here about what else you need to know. Any particular sort of things that still are not clear in your mind? Four I have listed over here. First and the foremost, the recommended study. Second, the grading system. Thirdly, the inclusivity goals and the syllabus update. As far as the study mode is concerned, so Cambridge has basically recommended 130 guided learning hours. That means that you should spend 130 hours for your preparation for each and every component of your 0510 or 0511 syllabus. The grading system for this syllabus is that your grades start from A star, then we have A, then B, C, D, E, F, and G. It indicates achievement. The highest achieving grades are A star, A, B, and C. So, if in case any particular sort of candidate has received grade E and F and they are not satisfied with their results, so they can retake the whole entire qualification as many times as needed. If we talk about the inclusivity goals, so Cambridge International Examination basically aims to maximize the inclusivity and to avoid discrimination. Like English is basically has been taught as a first language, and to us, we are basically the second language speaker of English. So the way one particular person who is having English as a first language background might excel comparatively to the person who's having a lower background because the English is his or her second language. So in this way, Cambridge want to provide you a smooth path where the Cambridge do not discriminate you on the basis of your language skills, regardless the matter wherever whichever the country you belong to. Cambridge also give you the access arrangement which is available for the candidate with the special educational needs. If in case your candidate, as a candidate, you are suffering with any sort of disability or God forbidden any sort of unforeseen circumstances, so you can raise your query to the Cambridge official. So they are going to grant you the access arrangement. And as far as the syllabus updates are concerned, so usually Cambridge update us through their teacher support network. And overall syllabus O5, as far as the overall syllabus of 0510 is concerned, so from this year onwards, the total marks for paper number 3 are increased from 30 to 40. And as far as the assessment objectives and the marks schemes are concerned, so usually as soon as you appeared for one particular sort of exam series, the examiners sit together, the board of examiners sit together, they go through the specific progress which is being made by the candidates in that particular sort of exam series, and then they prepare one particular sort of report where they analyze like what are the things that they need to add more or how they are going to uh, make it more effective. So this is what an overview of our Cambridge English as a second language 0510 and 0511.